Hello, my name's Cook2, and today I'm going to cook too. What am I going to cook? Healthy doner kebabs, also known as gyros or Schwarma, or if you're in Canada, Donair. Let's get started.
You already knew he could brew, now you get to watch him cook too. Welcome to Cook2 with Big Q at Cook2.com. Cook2.
If you're on a diet like me, if you're a bit of a fatty like me, then sometimes you want to eat your favourite foods, but you can't because they're full of fat, they're full of massive amounts of carbs, they're full of this, they're full of that, they're full of the bad shit you're not supposed to be eating, okay? But you still want to eat them, so how can we do that? Well, we'll take a doner kebab in this instance, and we'll make it healthily as you can make a doner kebab, that is. So what we're going to need to make this kebab, let's have a look at ingredients. To make the kebab, we're going to be using extra lean beef mince and lean lamb mince. We're going to be using 250 grams of extra lean beef and 250 grams of the lean lamb. To bind, we're going to be using a single teaspoon of plain white flour. In my case, it's gluten-free flour because my wife is gluten-free, but you could use any plain white flour that you have or that you want to use. For the spices, we're going to be using chili powder, garlic granules, onion powder, Italian herb seasoning, and some extra dried oregano. And to finish off and build the kebab, we're going to need salad. Okay, so we've seen the ingredients. What we're going to use as far as equipment is concerned. A big ass bowl. An oven tin. In this case, a silicone loaf tin. You could use a metal one if you've got one. Roasting bags. Plastic roasting bags. In my case, a turkey one, but you could use any meat roasting bag that you can get your hands on. That's important. A hand blender for blending up the meat with the spices. So there we go. How badly do you want a kebab? Right, so let's measure out all these ingredients. And stick them in here. Oh, look at the wee cups! Look at the wee measuring cups. Oh, they're so cute. Okay, so that's what we put into our mince. Now what we need to do is put the mince into the bowl and then shove this in as well. Now, I can't take credit for this recipe in full. I actually found it on a forum. I've made some changes as far as the meat that I'm using is concerned. However, largely, credit is due to these guys. The recipe is a teaspoon of plain flour, a teaspoon of dried oregano, or oregano if you're in America, half a teaspoon dried Italian herbs, half a teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon onion powder, a quarter teaspoon cayenne pepper, or in my case, chili powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and mince. They were using purely lamb. I'm combining it with extra lean beef. So let's get started. The first stage is to shove everything in a bowl and mix that sucker. Mix it. Beat the shit out of it. Take out all your frustrations on it. It's done you wrong. The meat's in there, in go the spices and the flour. Okay, now we initially want to be able to mash this up. We're not going to use the hand blender straight away. We're just going to use a fork to try and mash it down a bit. Now it really is impossible to overwork this meat, because what you want is you want it to turn into a nice homogeneous, there's a big word, almost like a paste. You want it to be absolutely smooth, like you were going to make like you were making a pate or something along those lines. So once you've got it broken down a little using your fork, and it's starting to combine, then you can get ripped in about it with the hand blender. So there's my meat. I'm going to use a little spray oil just to try and make things a little bit easier for this blender. The next stage is to make sure we've got this all nice and squashed up, which it is. Oh, lost a bit. Nearly. Now, we're going to take this and put it into our roasting bag. Then, we're going to roll it up in the roasting bag and put it in here. Now, my roasting bag is far bigger than I needed it to be. You only really need one about yay big. But this is what I've got, baby, so it's what I'm using. So let's take this and dump it in there. Now, whilst in the bag, we want to try and form it, roll it. Try and roll it into a tube. This is where your creativity comes in. You want the tube to be about as long as your tin. So it needs to fit in there, okay? Try and make it as uniform all the way along as you can. Okay, then I'm going to fold it up into my bag. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius and then shove it in. It's going to cook for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Now, you can turn it halfway through, but the bag should ensure even cooking, so that shouldn't be necessary. But if you want to do it, feel free, baby. I give you permission. So it's now been 1 hour and 20 minutes. Oh, you fucker. And there is our kebab, right there. Now we just need to unwrap it. Now obviously the bag is going to be a bit messy. cut away a little corner there, and then you can squeeze it out. So there it is, that's what we've created. It looks a bit like a kebab you might see turning on a spit. Round and round she goes, where she stops nobody knows. Now, it's going to be tempting to get ripped right into this and start slicing it immediately, but you really want to try and let it rest. So I'm just going to pop this back into the loaf tin briefly, and I'm going to let that rest and cool down a little. So it's going to be a lot easier to cut when it's rested for about 15 minutes. Now to do this, obviously a kebab has thin strips of meat. You don't really want to you don't want to take your knife and chop. I mean, if you only have a knife, then try and do it as thinly as you can, like that. However, I've got one of these. I got this in my local Chinese market, and it's a vegetable peeler. And as you can see, it's basically a big potato peeler. It has a nice edge in here that I can use to cut. If you don't have one of these, or if you can't get your hands on one of them, you can use a potato peeler. So let's try the potato peeler first, because that's what most likely people are going to have in their homes. Okay, so all we do is take the potato peeler and start to peel. And obviously, the sharper your potato peeler is, the more successful you're going to be. And there's our doner meat coming off. Slices of doner. Let's have a go with this to see if we can get some larger slices. See, there we go. What does that remind you of? Kebab shop on a Saturday night? Now, doner kebabs, gyros, Schwarma, what do you have them with? Salad! Aye! Let's build this kebab. A little hot sauce to finish it off. So there you are, the healthy doner kebab. Smells like the real thing to me. It looks good, and it's going to taste good too. Let's try it right now, baby. No, that right there tastes like kebab to me. I've missed you, old friend. If you happen to be doing Slimming World like I am, then this is 3 sins per portion, as long as you use your wholemeal pita bread for your healthy option B, and then your meat, and obviously all the meat that went into it. There was lamb, which is 3.5 sins per 100 grams. There was 250 grams went in, so that's 8.7 sins, because the beef is free. Plus you've got a teaspoon of flour in there as well. It all adds up. If you eat a quarter of what we've made, then your portion is 3 sins. And obviously remember and count any sauce that you put on that happens to have a sin value as well. Anybody else who's not doing Slimming World, it's healthy and it's low fat. Yummy, eat it and don't worry about it. Thanks very much for watching my video. As I said, my name's Big Q and I do homebrew, but I also cook too.